We'll head to Victoria now, where Premier Daniel Andrews is providing the COVID update. 11 new cases today.
11 new locally acquired cases of coronavirus in Victoria. They are all linked, but of course they all link back to a couple of mystery cases. But I want to thank each and every one of the many thousands of people now who are close contacts of one form or another, who are isolating, doing the right thing, supporting the effort to contain this virus and to allow us to be open again. We have 6 people in hospital. One of those is in ICU. There were 38,179 test results received overnight. So I want to thank the better part of 40,000 people who went and got tested the day before. That's a really powerful thing, an important thing. And I again reiterate, I know I've done it many thousands of times, but it's simply the most important point. If you've got any symptoms whatsoever today, do not wait till tomorrow to get tested. Go and get tested today. We'll get your result back to you as fast as possible. If you lose out on work, if you miss a shift and don't get paid, we'll give you $450 to compensate you for testing and waiting at home until you get your result, which is hopefully a negative result. And indeed on that score, there's further payments of $1,500 if you have to isolate and you therefore are unable to go to work and you don't have things like sick leave to fall back on. So thank you very much to those almost 40,000 people who went and got tested a day or so ago. We still have something like 95% of results the next day. The stations are busy, but the queues are not prohibitively long. And we would again just appeal to any Victorian with any symptoms, no matter how mild, please go and get tested, and please don't wait an hour, let alone an afternoon, let alone 3 or 4 days. Early results is how we pull this thing up. Now, those 11 cases we'd always prefer less rather than more, but it is encouraging that all of those cases with a high test number are all linked. In other pleasing news, the families that have been isolating on the 17th floor of the public housing tower that we've all been talking about, they've all been tested and they've all returned a negative test result. So that's very pleasing. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods there, it doesn't mean that we can change the settings, but it's better to have negative results than positive. And we again thank everybody in that tower and all of our partners in providing support to them. It's not easy to be locked down as they are now, waiting for test results, and some will have to be locked down regardless of their negative test result for the full 14 days. We thank them very much, as we thank many thousands of primary and secondary close contacts who are doing the right thing, making great sacrifices on behalf of all of us. We're very, very grateful to them. Now, I want to talk just very briefly about some important expansions in the Victorian vaccine rollout. As you know, we're fast approaching 1.8 million doses of vaccine having been administered through state clinics. As I think viewers and listeners and all of you guys know, this is a partnership. It's principally a federal government program, but we're playing our part assisting them in rolling it out in state clinics. We have 50 of those open access state clinics. What I can announce today is that from tomorrow, 9 of those 50 clinics will offer AstraZeneca vaccine to 18 to 39-year-olds. They'll be able to go online, book an appointment, and there are many appointments available. We've got the best part of 200,000 doses on hand. They'll then have a conversation upon arrival with a doctor. The doctor will take them through the risks, take them through all the different issues that they need to consider. If they then make an informed decision and provide consent, they will receive the AstraZeneca first dose, and then some 12 weeks later they'll receive the second dose. There's significant protection from infection and therefore from transmission and ill health from just a single shot. Obviously we want everyone to get the 2 jabs, but it is a powerful contribution, and I would fully anticipate that those 9 sites will be very busy, as all of our state sites have been right throughout this vaccine program. There's a lot written and a lot said about people being hesitant to get the jab. That's not the experience that I'm seeing. It's not what I'm picking up on. I think there are many millions of Victorians who want to get vaccinated. They want to get vaccinated quickly because they know it's good for them, for their family and for every family. And it's critical to us being open and staying open. So I think that those appointments will be snapped up quickly, but there are many of them. And we'd anticipate there's no supply issue when it comes to the AstraZeneca vaccine. You would book, you turn up, you have a conversation with the doctor, you then provide consent if that's your choice. Having had the conversation with the doctor, you'll then get your first dose and the second dose some 12 weeks later. I think there'll be many, many people who will avail themselves of that from tomorrow. There are 9 sites. You've got a list of those 9 sites. We'd be grateful to you to publish those if you can, to help us get that message out. The other point I make in relation to the vaccine program, we have substantial numbers of Pfizer appointments next week. I think in the order of about 10,000 or more, and then about double that, even perhaps more than that. Naomi can go to those numbers in more detail the following week. So there are appointments available, and I'd encourage people, getting vaccinated is one of those permitted reasons to leave your home. It's a profound thing you can do to protect your health and the health of everybody else. And as I said, get us open and keep us open. That's arguably one of the most important things that all of us can do. In general terms, you'd always prefer less cases rather than more, but we have got around this very fast. We have seen a very high percentage of people who needed to get a test to rule them in or out get that test. We're seeing very strong negative test result numbers. That's pleasing. The challenge for us all is that these cases remain, whilst linked downstream. When you go back to the original, we can't work out where those 2 chains of transmission began. Genomics helps, but it's not always conclusive. So we've got to assume, and there's nothing brave about it, it's just logic tells you, the assumption has got to be that there's other people out there who have got this and have potentially spread it to others, and they're not part of our public health response. They haven't got tested, they're not isolating, and that's why we have these lockdown measures in place. Limiting movement limits infection. We know it's really challenging, very, very difficult, but there is no alternative. There is no other tool to use. There's no other lever to pull. This is the only way forward for us. And these numbers, whilst we wish, we don't want to see more positive cases, our contact tracers are doing a great job. The community, when asked, they're doing a great job. And I thank every single Victorian who's coming forward, getting tested, isolating at home, staying away from others. And I also just thank every Victorian in a broader sense for following the rules. It's a beautiful sunny day. We'd all prefer to be doing something else. But if we want to get past this thing, if we want to bring it back under control, we've all got to play our part. That means no visits to anyone else's house, following the rules, doing the right thing, playing our part. If we all do that as we have done before, then we will drive these numbers down. And then we'll be able to have different rules and proceed with the vaccination program and look with a sense of confidence and optimism towards the end of this year and 2022. We have options at this point. I want to retain those options. There are other parts of the country that don't have those options. They are locked in until they all get vaccinated. We can have a different reality here. We can have something very different, but we've all got to remain focused on these days and weeks to come. All of us doing the right thing.